Will Smith is the name everyone is talking about following last weekend's Oscars. And we know they're not talking about his win for King Richard, rather his smack of Chris Rock that was heard around the world. Let's get into the celebrities who tried to warn us about Will Smith. So first up we got Chris Rock. Unless you are living under a rock, you know that Will Smith showed a completely different side of himself to the world at last night's Oscars. While comedian Chris Rock was speaking to the crowd and taking some digs at all the celebrities in the audience, Rock decided to take a jab at Jada Pinkett Smith, and I'm very sure he regrets it right now. Chris said, quote, "Jada, love you, G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it," referencing her almost bald head, because in the movie G.I. Jane, the lead actress Demi Moore has shaved her head. Jada has been open about her struggle with alopecia, and she was likely forced to wear her hair this way because she's not able to grow hair completely. Immediately after this joke, Will Smith decided to get up, interrupt the live broadcast, and slap Chris Rock right in the face for millions to see. Chris looked stunned and was not sure exactly how to respond. Will walked back to his seat, then yelled, quote, "Shut your mouth, keep my wife's name out of your effing mouth," twice. After this slap, Chris Rock looked completely stunned, having no idea what to do or say. It looked like he was about to clap back and say another harsh joke about Will or his family, but Rock took the high road and decided to stay calm. The internet was set ablaze by this slap, with many not even sure if it was real or just staged for publicity. But considering what we've seen in the aftermath, it was 100% real. Although many pointed out that Will actually laughed at the joke moments before deciding to get up and slap Chris Rock. Many fans of Smith's have tried to defend his actions, but the overall consensus is that it's never okay to put hands on someone or work out issues with violence, which I completely agree with. Also, we have no idea if Chris Rock even knew that Jada Pinkett Smith had alopecia. It could have just been a big misunderstanding. Next up, William Hendricks. After Will Smith slapped Chris Rock on stage, another one of his attacks was resurfaced, because this was not the first time that Will lost his temper and his nice guy persona was called into question. In 1989, Smith spent a night in jail after he hurt a man named William Hendricks so badly that Hendricks almost lost his sight. Smith even spent a night in jail because of this incident and has a mugshot because of it. Not sure exactly why it happened, but Hendricks was a producer who we can assume worked with Smith. Even more coincidental, this incident happened days after Will won his first Grammy. I guess he likes to get into altercations around award season. The charges were later dropped against Will. Will Smith was 20 years old at the time, and after getting in a verbal argument with his producer, he decided to make things physical. As per the police report, Smith asked his bodyguard, Charles Alston, to quote, attack William Hendricks, who needed 6 stitches after he fractured his left eye orbit during the altercation. Next up, August Alsina. After the smack heard around the world, old reports that Jada had cheated on Will in the past resurfaced. The pair have spoken about how they are in an open marriage, so we're not sure if it was really cheating or not, but Jada admitted she was in an entanglement with rapper August Alsina during a break with her husband. When Will and Jada talked about it on Red Table Talk, Will looked visibly distressed, and the general consensus is that Will wants a monogamous relationship, but Jada wants to be open and see other people. In 2020, August exposed the secret that he'd had a long-time affair with Jada while she was married to Smith. Initially, the Smiths denied this, but later admitted that it started when the pair split up briefly. Alsina had been introduced to Jada by her son Jaden at a London music festival in 2015. Insiders stated that August became like a member of their family, even going on vacations with them and staying in their mansion. August is 21 years younger than Jada, and he claimed that Smith actually gave his blessing to have an affair with his wife, an allegation that Jada then denied. Will also reported that he had affairs with other women during this time. At one point, he was rumored to have slept with co-star Margot Robbie. Many believe Will's insane reaction to the joke is proof that he is in a toxic relationship with his wife, because he completely embarrassed himself on most likely the biggest night of his life, all because of a bad joke. Many also claim that Will would have rather smacked August, but instead Chris Rock got the brunt of his anger. Vitaly Seduk. Little known fact is that this is not the first time that Will Smith has smacked a man in public at an award show event. Vitaly Seduk interviewed Will on a red carpet almost a decade ago, and after they had a negative interaction, Will smacked him in the face as well. While being interviewed, the pair hugged when Seduk went to kiss Will on the cheek. Will Smith freaked out, then backhanded him on the face. Although many felt this move was justified at the time, it shows that Smith's first reaction in a negative situation is violence. The incident took place at the Moscow opening of Men in Black 3 in May of 2012 while Seduk was working for a Ukrainian television station. After the incident with Chris Rock, Seduk stated, quote, "I just immediately recollected the slapping incident in Moscow. I think the joke was inappropriate when it comes to someone's health, but Will's reaction is unnecessary and sends the wrong message to comedians being hit for a joke." Adding, quote, "I don't want to call Will Smith uncontrollable. He has a violent temper, yes, but I'm sure he realizes what he's doing." The reporter acknowledged that it was a bad joke, and he understands that Will was protecting his family. However, it shows that violence is always Will's first instinct. Scientology. After the Chris Rock incident, some started connecting the dots between the bizarre slap and Scientology. This is because the Smiths have been tied to Scientology in the past, and physical punishment punishment is a popular teaching in the church. Apparently it's a common teaching in Scientology to use slaps and other forms of physical force to show other Scientologists that they've done something wrong. After the slap, one user tweeted, quote, "There's a Scientology course, I guess you'd call it, that involves slapping / physically humiliating fellow Scientologists in a group setting as a means of exerting superiority. It's remarkably common within the cult." The user even shared that Tom Cruise is known to use similar styles of punishment, but instead of hitting, he uses shouting to intimidate movie crews. This makes a ton of sense after what we saw happen on the set of one of Cruise's movies when he felt that COVID protocols were not taken seriously by his staff. Leaked audio heard him screaming at the top of his lungs at his staff, clearly sending a strong message. The Smiths have spent many years battling off accusations that they are involved in Scientology. The couple was apparently introduced to the church in 2004 by Tom Cruise, and they got so involved that the Smith family spent almost $1 million in 2008 to set up a school for the church. The Smiths said they designed the curriculum for the school, but insiders claimed it was based on Scientology. Both Jaden and Willow attended, but the school closed 6 years later when most of the parents removed their children. Tony Ortega, an expert on Scientology, said that the Smiths left Scientology in 2015 and that Will at least only ever dabbled in it. And finally, Will Smith himself. Will exposed himself in his 2021 memoir where he revealed his struggles with anger in the past and how he had thought about taking someone's life in the past. In this memoir, he revealed dark secrets from his past, like that his father used to hit his mother, and when he was younger he was ashamed that he never stepped in to stop him. Apparently many years later his father had cancer and was declining rapidly. He was in a wheelchair at the time and was not able to care for himself, so Will thought about taking his father's life to avenge all the horrible things that he did to his mother. Thankfully, Will did not go through with it and took the high road with his father. Will seemed to reference this in his Oscar speech where he said that a higher power called on him, quote, "to love people and to protect people and to be a river to my people."
First up on the list is The View co-hosts. Sunny Hostin and Whoopi Goldberg discussed the now infamous slap situation while on their talk show the next morning. They were particularly weighing in on the idea of taking away Will Smith's Oscar. Quote, "I think Will was immature. I think he was childish and he was violent. There will be consequences, I'm sure, but I don't think that that's what they're going to do. Particularly because Chris said, listen, I'm not going to press any charges." Anna Navarro also stated, quote, "Hitting somebody is a crime." While she called Chris Rock's joke a, quote, "lame joke, a joke made in poor taste," she believes that the slap is not equivalent. Joy Behar discussed the impact on comedians. Quote, "They want us to be edgy, to go out there and say what everyone's thinking, and then they get mad." I don't think anyone has thought about G.I. Jane in like a decade, but I mean, whatever. Okay, next up is Cher, and hear me out on this one. It's kind of not really about Chris Rock, but more so Cher just being like the best person ever and so inadvertently hilarious. The night that the slap happened, Cher tweeted out in all caps, "Oh, what a night, I'm so happy." I thought that in and of itself was hilarious, but then people in the replies started freaking out. When someone was being pretty vicious to her, she replied that she had no idea what anyone was talking about and that the tweet was about how she went and got a bottle of Dr. Pepper. Her mind. Immediately once she realized what was going on, she tweeted, quote, "Haters FKU. Everyone is so ready to pounce. Does anyone in their right mind think that I wouldn't have said something had I known? Me of all people?" And she did it in that weird every letter is a capitalized thing that she does. I love her so much, she's so funny. Next on the list is Jimmy Fallon. Editor, please put up the picture of Jimmy Fallon in blackface on that one SNL skit while I say what he said. Don't want anyone to think that that's been forgotten of at all. The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon host quipped during his monologue the day after the awards show, quote, "America may be divided, but it was kind of nice for all of us to come together and say holy crap at the same time. Of course, I have to address the big moment that everyone's talking about, and that is Questlove winning the Oscar for Best Documentary." Congrats, Questlove, on your big night. Next up is Nicole Kidman, the queen behind the viral reaction photo to the Oscar slap. Soon after the slap incident, a photo of Nicole with her jaw basically on the floor went through the internet as a reaction to the night's events. That being said, I'm definitely cheating here because her reaction wasn't actually to the moment itself. In fact, it was for a much sweeter moment that happened hours prior to Will Smith schmacking Chris Rock. The photographer who took the Shock Nicole photo stated that the reaction was actually Jessica Chastain walking into the room and Kidman was excited to see her. That's pretty cute, I'm not gonna lie. Next up is Nicki Minaj. I love her music, she's an amazing rapper, but she has been criticized for being with a man who did some really messed up stuff. I can't really go into it here, it's a lot, but you should definitely look it up because it makes her reaction a little sus. The rapper wrote on Twitter, quote, "I love Chris Rock. I don't think he would have made that joke had he known what Jada recently shared. But between him and the whole team at the Oscars, you mean to tell me not one of y'all heard this woman just share this heartbreaking story? You just got to witness in real time what happens in a man's soul when he looks over to the woman he loves and sees her holding back tears from a little joke at her expense. This is what any and every real man feels in that instance. While y'all all seeing the joke, he's seeing her pain. No comment. Next up is Tim Heidecker. I just think he's funny, and he's one of the original comedians behind absurdist humor, one of my favorite comedy styles, but this entire post that he made was totally satire, just in case you didn't know. Anyway, on his Instagram a few hours ago at the time of writing this, he posted this extremely deep, sad-looking photo of himself, and the caption is, quote, "My heart breaks for comedy itself. We cannot allow violence to stop us from speaking the truth. Comedy is a sacred art, from back in the Bible days. Even Adam and Eve had comedy in their lives. No comic should fear for their lives just for being honest about hair or how bad someone smells. That said, offensive jokes should be met with worldwide condemnation from all, and we must all take responsibility for our actions, even if that means being physically attacked. I am one of the most offensive comedians of all time, but I must say, no more bullshit." And honestly, I love him. It just kind of highlights the absolute ridiculousness of this whole thing. Jim Carrey is next up, who stated on CBS that he felt, quote, "sickened by the standing ovation. Hollywood is just spineless en masse, and it really felt like, oh, this is a really clear indication that we're not the cool club anymore. You do not have the right to walk up on a stage and smack somebody in the face because they said words." Jim Carrey is a little unhinged lately, but I kind of agree with him on this point, and it seems like more and more he's so thoroughly done with everything to do with fame and Hollywood. Now I want to spend some time talking about the actual people involved in the incident. So next up, we're going to talk about Jada Pinkett Smith, the subject of Chris Rock's tasteless joke. Since the part 1 of this video, she has broken her silence about what went down. And might I just frame this narrative for a second and remind everyone that when the joke was initially told, Will Smith was laughing at it. It wasn't until he saw how furious Jada herself looked that he stood up and hit Chris. So really, if she hadn't reacted that way, I doubt that Will would have done anything. Anyway, she's been pretty vocal about her alopecia, and on Instagram she posted the quote, "This is the season for healing and I'm here for it." Of course, this comes after Will accepted his award for his role in King Richard, and in the speech, Will spoke about how he wants to be like Richard, who was, quote, "a fierce defender of his family." So I guess that Instagram post on Jada's part was her approval of Will's reactions. Next up, we've got the man himself, Will Smith. He only just recently broke his silence about the incident. Again, during his acceptance speech, he went off about how he will protect his family no matter what, yada yada yada. He then later apologized to the Academy and to the other nominees for his actions, but it wasn't until a few days ago that he finally apologized to Chris Rock. In a post made on Instagram, Will states, quote, "Violence in all of its forms is poisonous and destructive. My behavior at last night's Academy Awards was unacceptable and inexcusable. Jokes at my expense are a part of the job, but a joke about Jada's medical condition was too much for me to bear and I reacted emotionally. I would like to publicly apologize to you, Chris. I was out of line and I was wrong. I am embarrassed and my actions were not indicative of the man I want to be. There is no place for violence in a world of love and kindness. I say we take it to the ring and let him juke it out." And now we finally got Chris Rock's reaction to the whole debacle. His reaction has been, well, nothing. Outside of indicating that he would not file charges against Will Smith, he's been absolutely silent. Not a peep. Now, at the time of recording this video, which is Wednesday the 30th, he has a live show tonight, and I am like absolutely certain that that's when he's going to bring it up. I mean, how could you not? The show is obviously sold out, and my prediction is that he will make extremely lighthearted jokes about it before forgiving the apology. That's my prediction, alright? It's locked in. I don't think Chris is the type of person to hold a grudge like this. I mean, he's a professional comedian, someone who is known for having to be a little edgy. If he can't take just a bit of flack, then he'll no longer come out as the semi-good guy in this situation. So I guess by the time this video airs, there will be something that Chris Rock has said, and I really can't wait to hear what it is, popcorn in hand.
Unless you're living under a rock, you know that Will Smith showed a completely different side of himself to the world at last night's Oscars. While comedian Chris Rock was speaking to the crowd and taking some digs at the celebrities in the audience, Rock Rock decided to take a jab at Jada Pinkett Smith, and I'm sure he regrets it right about now. Chris said, quote, "Jada, love you, G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it," referencing her almost bald head, because in the movie G.I. Jane, the lead actress Demi Moore had a shaved head. Jada has been open about her struggle with alopecia, and she was likely forced to wear her hair this way because she's not able to grow hair completely. Immediately after the joke, Will Smith decided to get up, interrupt the broadcast, and slap Chris Rock right in the face for millions to see. Chris looked stunned and was not sure exactly how to respond. Will walked back to his seat and yelled, quote, "Shut your mouth, keep your wife's name out of your effing mouth," twice. The internet was set ablaze by this slap, with many not even sure if it was real or just staged for publicity. But considering the aftermath, there's no doubt in my mind that this was a spur-of-a-moment decision from Will. Although many pointed out that Will actually laughed at the joke moments before deciding to get up and slap Chris Rock. Now it's controversial, with many surprisingly defending Will for this slap, claiming Chris Rock's joke was out of line. However, the majority seem to believe it's never right to attack a person and are hoping that Smith faces some sort of repercussion for his actions. Let's get into the reasons why this move might have completely destroyed his career. Firstly, he deflected the blame. Moments after the slap, the award for Best Actor was presented. This was the award that Smith was favored to win. Many were not sure if he would be asked to leave the show, or if the Oscars might actually change the winner to someone else at the last moment. However, he did win the award for his portrayal of Richard Williams in the movie King Richard, based on the father of tennis stars Venus and Serena Williams. When he came up to accept the award, fans were hoping that he would apologize to Chris Rock and the fans, but he did not, and he actually deflected the blame, even comparing himself to Richard Williams. Smith said in part, quote, "Richard Williams was a fierce defender of his family. I'm being called in on my life to love people and to protect people and to be a river to my people. I know to do what we do, you gotta be able to take criticism. You gotta be able to have people talk crazy about you. In this business, you gotta be able to have people disrespecting you. And you gotta smile, you gotta pretend like it's okay." He also added, quote, "Love will make you do crazy things." He later apologized to the Academy and his fellow nominees, but many did not think this apology went far enough, especially since he deflected the blame for the action beforehand, blaming his instincts to protect his family for deciding to do an unprecedented action at the most prestigious award show there is. One fan wrote on Twitter after the speech, quote, "All the media outlets tweeting about Will Smith apologizing in his acceptance speech were clearly watching a different award ceremony. Smith's tearful speech did not include an apology to Chris Rock. So clearly, in my opinion, he is not sorry to Chris Rock." Next up, showed his true colors. Will Smith has been long considered one of the nicest and most humble A-list celebrities there is. But after this incident, people are starting to think differently of him, because no truly nice person would do what Will Smith did. Maybe this is the type of person he's actually been all along, and the nice guy image that he's cultivated is fake, with many comparing him to other celebrities like Ellen DeGeneres, who was exposed for being mean. Many tweets online after the incident accused Smith of showing his true colors with his action. It essentially took him less than 5 seconds to decide to not only physically harm someone, but to disrespect the Oscars and everyone else that was there that night. I guess people will make their own decisions about his character moving forward, but for a lot of fans, their opinion of him has changed. Didn't apologize to Chris Rock. Since Will Smith won the award for Best Actor just moments after slapping Chris Rock, many thought he would take this time to apologize to Chris Rock for the insane move. But he didn't. He apologized to almost everyone else other than the person that he hit. During his speech, Smith said, quote, "Denzel Washington said to me, at your highest moment, be careful, that's when the devil comes for you." Adding, quote, "I want to apologize to the Academy, I want to apologize to my fellow nominees," at no point mentioning Chris Rock. Then he tried to lighten the mood by saying, quote, "Art imitates life. I look like a crazy father just like they said, but love will make you do crazy things." Other celebrities are vocal against him. After the shocking altercation, some celebrities took to Twitter to share how much they disagree with Will Smith's actions. Director Judd Apatow was probably the most vocal, who said in a series of tweets, quote, "Seems like Will Smith's plan to get comedian and the world not to make jokes about him is not going to pan out. The Williams family must be furious. Pure narcissism. Also, G.I. Jane was gorgeous. What exactly is insulting about being compared to a ripped, stunning Demi Moore? He then replied to a tweet that mentioned that he did what he did because Chris Rock was insulting her alopecia. Apatow doubled down, writing, quote, "He could have killed him. That's pure out of control rage and violence. They've heard a million jokes about them in the last 3 decades. They are not freshmen in the world of Hollywood and comedy. He lost his mind." Apatow has since deleted these tweets. Kathy Griffin also chimed in, tweeting out, quote, "Let me tell you something. It's very bad practice to walk up on stage and physically assault a comedian. Now we all have to worry about who wants to be the next Will Smith in comedy clubs and theaters. Blacklisted from other award shows." It's not a stretch to think that other award shows might not allow Will Smith to attend after he slapped a host while they were presenting. The Academy tweeted after, quote, "The Academy does not condone violence of any form. Tonight we are delighted to celebrate our 94th Academy Awards winners who deserve this moment of recognition from their peers and movie lovers around the world." Clearly they did not want to publicly trash one of their winners, but I'm sure they are not happy with what took place. And finally, he could get arrested. Just a reminder that what Will Smith did was illegal, and he could have easily been arrested and charged. The LAPD said in a statement after the Oscars, quote, "LAPD investigative entities are aware of an incident between 2 individuals during the Academy Awards program. The incident involved one individual slapping another. The individual involved has declined to file a police report. If the involved party desires a police report at a later date, LAPD will be available to complete an investigative report." So clearly Chris Rock is not deciding to file any charges, thankfully for Will Smith, but if they don't reconcile, nothing is stopping Rock from pressing charges at a later date, so hopefully Will Smith apologizes. In at number 10, Judd Apatow. After the shocking altercation, some celebrities took to Twitter to share how much they disagreed with Will Smith's actions. Director Judd Apatow was probably the most vocal, who said in a series of tweets, quote, "Seems like Will Smith's plan to get comedians and the world to not make jokes about him is not going to pan out. The Williams family must be furious. Pure narcissism. Also, G.I. Jane was gorgeous. What exactly is insulting about being compared to a ripped, stunning Demi Moore?" He then replied to a tweet that mentioned that Will did what he did because Rock was insulting her alopecia. Apatow doubled down, writing, quote, "He could have killed him. That's pure out of control rage and violence. They've heard a million jokes about them in the last 3 decades. They are not freshmen in the world of Hollywood and comedy. He lost his mind." Apatow has since deleted the tweets, but we can assume he meant every word. In at number 9, Tiffany Haddish. Tiffany Haddish was one of the few celebrities who decided to support Will Smith's actions. She stated how much she loved to see a husband standing up for his wife. It probably also helped that Haddish and Pinkett Smith are friends and starred in the movie Girls Trip together. Haddish told People, quote, "When I saw a black man stand up for his wife, that meant so much to me. As a woman who has been unprotected, for someone to say, 'Keep my wife's name out of your mouth, leave my wife alone,' that's what your husband is supposed to do, right? Protect you. And maybe the world might not like how it went down, but for me it was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen because it made me believe there are still men out there that love and care about their women," adding that she thought it was beautiful because it proved that there are husbands that still care about their wives. In at number 8, Sophia Bush. One Tree Hill star Sophia Bush tried to see both sides of the situation and tweeted out, quote, "Violence isn't okay, assault is never the answer. Also, this is the second time that Chris has made fun of Jada on the Oscars stage, and tonight he went after her alopecia. Punching down at someone's autoimmune disease is wrong. Doing so on purpose is cruel. They both need a breather." I do appreciate how she tried to see both sides of things because both men are wrong in some ways. Chris Rock also joked about Pinkett Smith at the 2016 Oscars. Her and Will decided not to go that year to protest the lack of diversity at the award show. While hosting, Rock said, quote, "Jada said she's not coming to protest. I'm like, isn't she on a TV show? Jada's going to boycott the Oscars? Jada boycotting the Oscars is like me boycotting Rihanna's panties. I wasn't invited." He also took a jab at Will and added a comment about Will's lack of nomination that year, saying, quote, "It's not fair that Will was this good and didn't get nominated. You're right. It's also not fair that Will was paid $20 million for Wild Wild West, okay?" He said, referencing one of Smith's biggest flops. In at number 7, Lupita Nyong'o. One of the celebrities whose live reaction to the incident has gone viral is Lupita Nyong'o. Lupita was seated right behind Will Smith, so when he sat down after slapping Chris Rock, we got a clear view of exactly how she was feeling. It was the same shock and horror that most of us were experiencing at that time. Lupita won Best Supporting Actress in 2014 for her role in 12 Years a Slave and was at the 2022 ceremony to hand out the Best Costume Design award. She looked incredibly uncomfortable as she sat inches away from Will as he raged at Chris Rock on stage. One person tweeted along with her picture, quote, "Give Lupita Best Supporting Actress for her work tonight." This is now being called her second best moment at the Oscars. The first was when she took part in Ellen DeGeneres' then social media breaking selfie from the 2014 ceremony. And at number 6, Denzel Washington. Another celebrity that supported Will Smith after his outburst was Denzel Washington. During the commercial break of the show, journalists noted that Will was seen talking to Washington and Tyler Perry for an extended period of time. Will was breaking down and looking for support from the men. The Hollywood Reporter's columnist Scott Feinberg captured the moment when Denzel Washington approached Smith during a commercial break and shared it on Twitter Sunday night. The reporter added, quote, "Will appears to wipe tears away from his eyes as he sits back down with Jada, with Denzel comforting Jada and Will's rep by his side." Then during his speech for Best Actor, Will revealed what Denzel said to him, saying, quote, "At your highest moment, be careful, that's when the devil comes for you." It seems the pair are good friends. During another interview, Will said, quote, "He knew me years ago. I would go to Denzel for advice, so he's seen me through the years and he was just telling me how proud he is of who I've become and what I've become." Halfway at number 5, Nicole Kidman. Nicole Kidman easily had the most memeable reaction to the slap, and thankfully photographers captured the moment where her jaw was dropped as low as it could go. Kidman was seated in the front row, so not only did she get a clear view of the slap, we got an unobstructed view of her reaction. I really think hers is the perfect reaction to the slap because it was just so shocking. My face probably looked about the same when I saw it. Kidman is well known for another notable Oscars moment when her seal-looking clap was put on display. Thankfully, this will now be the new meme starring her. And at number 4, Serena Williams. Serena Williams was also in the front row of the show as her father and life story was showcased in the movie King Richard. Since she had such a deep connection to the film, many were wondering what her and her sister Venus's reaction would be to the outburst. She broke her silence on Instagram, where she simply shared a video of her mouth hanging open with her eyes wide, clearly showcasing what we were all feeling, utter disbelief. She then followed this up with another video, saying, quote, "I just sat down because I was like, I gotta put that drink down," again looking in shock. It was clearly a reference to what just happened. The sisters have said nothing more. Many are wondering if the family is hurt that Will would hurt the legacy of the film or if they approve of what he did. And at number 3, Nick Viall. Nick Viall, former Bachelor contestant, gave his thoughts on the slap, and he was asked to compare it to the drama on The Bachelor. Viall said what happened at the Oscars was, quote, "way more dramatic than what happens on The Bachelor." Adding, quote, "I think most people just wondered if it was like a bit or a joke, if it was fake. I think pretty quickly we realized it was serious." I also shared that he felt bad for Chris Rock, adding, quote, "Chris Rock is there to be a comedian. He tells jokes. Obviously, there's going to be some at the expense of people. Everyone has a right to feel how they feel, and we have our hurt feelings, but how we handle our hurt feelings matters." Viall continued that he doesn't think Smith handled his feelings in the best way, but added that his performance in King Richard was amazing and he deserved the win. In at number 2, Ethan Klein. One YouTuber that made their thoughts incredibly clear was Ethan Klein, who posted a string of tweets denouncing Will's actions. He wrote, quote, "Will Smith just a walking L since his wife decided to start weekly humiliating him on her Facebook show. Probably should deal with whatever trauma he has with her instead of punching Chris Rock in the face for an extremely tame joke. He needs to be escorted out of the Oscars, L." Adding in another tweet, quote, "Will Smith won and got a standing ovation. I'm in awe. The show went on like nothing happened. Will Smith punched a comedian for doing his job. He's a celebrity in the front row of the Oscars where it's normal to be roasted. Bad taste or not, defending Will equals brain rot." Many pointed out that Will only did so because Chris made fun of his wife's alopecia, but Klein did not back down and said that that's no reason to slap someone in the face, which I completely agree with. And finally at number 1, Howard Stern. Howard Stern did not hold back on his Monday morning radio show, completely blasting Will Smith for his actions. Stern said, quote, "What you saw on TV was a guy with real issues. That's crazy. That's crazy when you can't contain yourself." His co-host Robin Quivers called the assault a, quote, "blindsided attack," noting that Rock had no idea that the hit was coming. Both Stern and Quivers blasted the Academy for not immediately ejecting Smith from the event, with Stern adding, quote, "You don't provide security, you don't have someone to come up there. Chris Rock was just trying to make people laugh at the ceremony, which is so long and boring." Comic Nikki Glasser also called into the show to agree, with her adding that she's afraid of what might happen to other comedians when they make risky jokes at a comedy club. All three blasted the inaction from other celebrities in the room and the Academy for doing nothing.
I have to start off by saying, personally, I am a huge fan of Will Smith, and I always have been. I can't speak on this because I've never met him, but there have been examples shared online of not so pleasant experiences with the actor. One of them is when a fellow actor and comedian, Paul Rodriguez, came forward saying Will wasn't nice when they worked together on the movie Ali. Actually, he called him an if I'm being real and transparent. Paul went on the radio and said that Will was an and did steroids to bulk up for his role as the legendary boxer. He didn't elaborate on details, but claimed he also said really offensive and racist things. Will denied these allegations and even addressed the steroid claims, saying that he did not use steroids and said that he prepared his body for that role for over a year by boxing every day for hours, studying Islam, and working with dialect coaches. If he was doing steroids, it might explain why he was acting like an a-hole, but this is all just she said, he said, so we really won't know. It's just kind of whose side of the story you believe on that one. Actress Janet Hubert, who played Aunt Viv on his iconic TV series The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, has also had very negative things to say about him. She called him an egomaniac and told TMZ, "I will never do anything with like Will Smith." Fans actually turned against Will during this time because her character was replaced on the show and everyone pointed the finger at him. Aunt Viv was a huge fan favorite of the show, but Will said he had nothing to do with it. He responded to some of her remarks and said, "She's mad now, but she's been mad all along." She once said, "I've been in the business for 10 years and this snotty-nosed punk comes along and gets a show. No matter what, to her, I'm just the Antichrist." That does sound a little personal between those two. So, I mean, I'm sure people have called me an a-hole. Doesn't mean you gotta believe them. Like, I'm actually a really nice person. Another thing that people often criticize him for is his parenting. His son Jaden Smith has landed in controversy on a number of occasions, and people have pointed the finger at the parents. During an interview with Vanity Fair, people claim that he actually threw his kids under the bus. Both of his kids, Willow and Jaden, show their freedom of expression through their unique style, which they often get criticized for. When asked about it, Will said, "I praise their freedom of expression and consciously encourage them to have. I think it may have been a mistake. I think we might have gone too far." He did say it with a chuckle and like a light tone, but some people interpret it as being disrespectful towards his kids and kind of just toss them under the bus. Like, shouldn't you defend your kids at all times? That's where people were going with that. It also doesn't help that his wife, Jada Smith, admitted during an interview that Will makes insensitive comments to their kids, even in their personal life. During an interview, she said that Will occasionally makes insensitive remarks to their daughter Willow regarding her period. She said, "Willow has gone at her dad several times for very insensitive comments, whether it's around menstruation or, you must be PMSing." Jada admitted that she talked to Will about it and said that it is a work in progress. She explained that her husband is often a jokester who needs to be corrected and called out for hurtful comments sometimes. I think it really comes down to where his intentions are. Sometimes jokes can go too far, even if you weren't intending them to be hurtful, right? But is that a valid excuse? What do you guys think? Let me know what your thoughts are on Will Smith. However, when it comes to fans and people meeting him in person, he does have a lot of positive experiences. On Mean Stars, he was rated 80% for being nice, and overall, Hollywood has been in love with him for years. He was chosen to play the genie in the new Aladdin live-action remake, and there's no doubt that it's a family-friendly, lovable character. Many people said that he was the perfect fit for it, which I agree. I did a little test though, just out of curiosity, and if you go to Google and type in "I love Will Smith," there are over 1 billion results. If you go in and type "I hate Will Smith," there are 171 million, so there is a huge gap between the two. However, that is a lot of hate.